As pointed out by previous research, in web browsing, loadings of web pages are highly repetitive. Web page revisitation was thus defined as the repeated loading of a web page as identified by its URL. To understand this definition, we first need to know what is meant by page loading. Whenever we try to open a web page, the browser would request a page from web servers. This process is called a page loading. As a web page is uniquely identified by its URL, we're able to determine whether or not the requested web page has been loaded before. If it has, then this page loading is considered a revisitation in conventional term. However, this conventional definition in terms of page loading does not explain the purpose of revisitation behaviors. We noticed the following during the investigation. First, in non-tab browsing, whenever a page is loaded, it is instantly displayed in the browser window. Second, a web page could be viewed by a user only when it is displayed on the screen. Third, a user views a page to obtain information from that page. Another way of obtaining information is through the audible content in the page, which does not require viewing. If we assume that viewing is predominant in obtaining information, and a web page is viewed whenever it is displayed, we could see that page loading events measure the activities of obtaining information in non-tab browsing. In previous research, revisitation rate is thus calculated as the percentage of repetitions in all page loading events. As every URL loaded is viewed at least once, the number of distinct URLs loaded equals the number of first-time loadings of web pages, so this shortcut is used in practice. Since the conventional definition is more of a measurement rather than a definition, we propose a goal-oriented definition for revisitation, termed as effective revisitation, the repetition of obtaining information from a web page as identified by its URL. Could conventional measurement be still used in tab browsing to measure the activities of obtaining information, or more specifically, page viewings? We notice that page loading and displaying events are no longer concurrent. A page loading event could happen without displaying the loaded page, or a page contained in the background tab could be displayed without loading that page. Thus, the equality between page loading and information obtaining is voided in tab browsing. We propose to measure the following two types of page viewings instead: loading-based viewings and tab searching-based viewings. When a web page is loaded into the Focus tab, it is displayed in the browser window and considered viewed by the user. When a background tab is brought into focus, the web page it contains is also considered viewed by the user. The repetitions of such page viewings are thus considered effective revisitations in our measurement. The effective revisitation rate is calculated as the percentage of repetitions in all page viewing events. Note that URLs could be loaded but not viewed, so there's no shortcut in practical calculation. We conducted a 1-month client-side log study of 20 participants using a tab browser. We closely followed the format of a previous study and adopted Patrick's logger and compilation scripts with several minor changes. Then we used our own scripts for further analysis of the log events. Results show that in tab browsing, while conventional measurement produces a revisitation rate of below 50%, our measurement of effective revisitation rate is significantly larger than using conventional measurement. We compared 4 previous studies that took place in the mid-90s, late 90s, and about 5 years ago with our own study conducted in 2010. While the first 3 studies were conducted with non-tab browsers, our study was conducted with tab browsers, and the 4th study was conducted partly with tab browsers. The first 3 studies suggested revisitation rates of above 50% in non-tab browsing using the conventional measurement. The 4th one indicated a significant decrease in this figure. However, as conventional measurement was used for tab browsing in that study, this result might be less conclusive. As suggested by our result, the effective revisitation rate remains consistent with the first 2 studies.